Hi, everyone. It's Thursday and didn't rain yet, but it will soon, I think. Anyway, how's everybody tonight? Please say hi if you're in the chat. I'm going to try a couple of things tonight. I'm not very techy, as some of you know. And you can see my mess behind me. I've been felting and felting and felting and felting. So even though I'm not necessarily open for in-store shopping, I've been really busy. I did pick up my knitting bag from my daughter's house, and this is my Cheviot. I haven't started. This is my Cheviot sample from Bobolink Yarns. And all of her yarns, as I said, I think before, she sources in Vermont from farms in the Vermont area. So she knows exactly where everything comes from. And if you look in the Field Guide to Fleece, Deb Robson's great guide, Cheviot is, she describes it as durable without being harsh. And that's what it feels like. I mean, I love wool, but it doesn't feel necessarily really scratchy. So I really want to make a hat, and hopefully I'll have one next week. And if you come by, you can see how it feels knit up. I'm thinking really strongly of carrying some Cheviot in the shop. So that is one thing. What else do I want to do before I try my complicated trick here? I forgot to bring it over here. New yarn from Superfine Yarns. For all of you pink lovers, this is June. And so what I do, and Sarah from Superfine, I order her yarn of the month, and it's a sock yarn, and this is a one-time color. So this is June. It's a 400 yard superwash merino and 20% nylon. I have to order the boxes a month in advance. Then I panicked that I didn't order July's, so I hurried and did it. And Sarah emailed me back and said, Gail, you ordered 2 for July. How about shall I put it towards August? And I said, absolutely. So anyway, I only get 6 of these, and that's all there's going to be. So if you like it, you need to come by. I have a question about thoughts when I'll be open up in person for shopping. It is such a tough question. And if it were just my husband and myself in my little group, I would be open now, especially if you're vaccinated. But that said, I babysit and help my daughter out as much as I possibly can. She has 2 little ones that are not vaccinated. And she's an epidemiologist, and her husband is a biologist. And they've been pretty strict about things. So I'm hoping in the fall, but we'll have to wait and see. And I'm not going anyplace. I will eventually open, but that's the story right now, Sarah. I will bring most of my store outside for you to see. And I have a lot of sale yarns outside every day that it is not raining, and I add to the sale yarn every week. Hey, Candace, how are you? How are things down in the South? Hi, Colleen, how are you? Golly, I miss all you people. Anyway, Sarah, there will be bells and whistles going off, and a special celebration when I reopen for people to come back in. It's been such a strange year for so many reasons. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of screen sharing. Hot and humid, yay for air conditioning. Oh, Candace, North Carolina, right? I always want to say North Carolina and South Carolina. This is awful because I do get things mixed up, but Candace, you're in North Carolina, I believe. I know, I think we're going to need air conditioning up here next week. I told you I would think about starting Scout South Myrtle Beach. Sorry, Candace. Let me share my screen in case some of you do not remember or do not know the Scout pattern. This is from Florence Sperling, and it's beautiful. I will say it's absolutely beautiful. Let me see if I can here. So now you can't see me, I don't think, but this is the pattern, and it is beautiful. My concern was that it is Fair Isle and Intarsia on the right side, public side, and the non-public side. So I said that I would try a little bit and see how it went with me. So I have a couple things I want to explain, but since I'm on this screen right now, let me pull up something else, because if you're going to do this Intarsia, it's going to be a slow process and you need something else. So this is a shawl that I started from a book called Shawl Joy, and I am using, so this is the pattern I'm going to be doing. Let me go back here so I can see you. Whoops, I did not mean to do that, because now I can't see any comments. Here we go. Now I lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. This is, I'm knitting, Waiting for Rain, out of a yarn, out of a fingering weight sock type yarn that Mary Jean from Bat and Co Fibers and I have been working on, and it's a little bit of a heather. I don't know if this, I don't think we're actually going to go with this blend, but it is making up nicely in the shawl, and I'm almost to the short rows. So Marie had shown me this book a while ago, and I probably will talk more about it, but the book is Shawl Joy, and it's Sylvia McFadden, I believe. Yes, it's Sylvia McFadden, and a lot of really pretty shawls in different weights. So you'll be hearing more on that book. Okay, now let's see if I can get fancy here. I'm going to remove that. I'm going to have to invest, I think, in a little camera, because I can get feedback when I don't want to with the streaming service. So I'm going to put my earbuds in and see if I can do this. And so, okay, so hopefully you can hear me. Somebody tell me if you can't. When I do this, I have a little bit of a delay, so my language is going to be kind of weird. So this is my little piece that I have done with the floats on the back. It's opposite. Okay. So I can't take my headphones off. I'm going to show you something And then I'm going to turn this wackiness off. In fair, I want you to notice right now. Let's see. I want you to notice, remember where I left off, that my one yarn is traveling under, and my other yarn travels over. Okay, so I don't cross the yarn, and this one stays under. Okay, I'm going to turn this one on. When I teach, I teach with Zoom, and I don't have this problem, and my other camera is much easier. It's really kind of awkward on this. I'm going to try to solve that. But there are a few things that I think are really important when you do Fair Isle or Intarsia. What I was trying to show you was color dominance. So if my rule of thumb is this little mantra, lower, left, larger, it matters whether your yarn travels on the top or on the bottom. So, and it's awfully hard to show you this way, but perhaps it's either going to travel. I can't show you this way. That's just it. I'm going to have to come up with another way to do this. But if you do stranded in or Fair Isle in two hands, which I will do on the right side, but my trepidation about doing Fair Isle on the wrong side was that my pearl continental is not the same tension as it's looser, okay, than my right hand would be. But I found that it's very easy to carry both pearl in my one hand. One of the stitches is always just a little bit larger. It has a little bit more color in it, a little bit more yarn in it. And that larger stitch becomes dominant in a pattern. And if you switch them up, your pattern can become jumbled. So the rule of thumb is your lower stitch, or the one in the yarn that's running lower, or your left hand yarn is larger. So lower left is larger. Okay, that's the mantra to remember. It really was not difficult. And if I get my act together a little bit, I can show you a little more. There are both techniques, Intarsia and stranded or Fair Isle, in this pattern. And if you choose to do it, it's a huge undertaking, but you will become so comfortable and you'll be so proud of it when you're done. But you need an easier project also. If you're a one project person, you're going to need a second project where you can just pick up and do your meditative kind of knitting, because this is really thought kind of knitting. I wanted to show you a couple of other things. When you're doing colored knitting or stranded knitting like this, or Intarsia, never put your knitting in a knitting bag when you're done. Yarn parties when you're not looking, and you will have a jumbled mess. So always put it in either a little box, a little basket, a shoe box, anything that you can place it and it will stay there. It is also not travel knitting, at least for me, it's not travel knitting, and it's not comfy yarn armchair knitting. It's table knitting where I can put my balls of yarn where I want them. Now this pattern has a little border, as you can see, that goes all the way on each side. So she recommends, the designer recommends just small balls of yarn, and she didn't say how large or small. So another little hint I have is, and this is what works for me. What works for you maybe something else, but this is what works for me. I've had these wound in little balls, and as you can see, they don't go anyplace. Maybe you can see. They're just dangling here. What I have done is I have put a backwards loop over them to hold them. I'm going to show you that. Okay, so now this is a free rolling ball of yarn that will roll across the floor and drive you nuts. So what I do is I take a big loop like that backwards, twist it backwards and put it over. Now it's not going to go anyplace. And the borders are only 4 stitches. So I can knit those 4 stitches and then do my Intarsia thing where I put the old yarn over the new yarn and pick up and go with the new yarn. So people call it twisted. It's not really twisted. It's just remember, put your old yarn over your new yarn when you're switching in Intarsia. Okay. So that means when you're switching motifs, and this, I would call this border a motif, and then this center part. Do not old over new when you're doing stranded, because you want to keep them running. You want to keep your upper yarn upper and your lower yarn lower. So you just drop them, but you keep them the same. And then when you get to the other side and you're going to change to your border motif, both yarns are your old yarns, and they go over your border yarn, and you pick up your border yarn and knit those 4 stitches. It'd be easier if I can show you. So I promise you that I will work on how I do it when I have how I do this in class. I think I'm going to have to get a camera that doesn't have any audio with it. Hey, Claire. Thank you. I'm not very good at this, but I hope that you get somebody gets something out of it. What else do I have to say tonight? Not a whole lot. I am working with Bat and Kill Fibers on some new yarns. So in a couple weeks, I'm hoping to have something to show you. I'm not quite ready to show you yet because we're still working on some of the blends. And I'm slowly putting the bobolink yarns on that I showed you last week. I don't know where it is. All I'm doing is felting stuff. I have like 5 big jobs to do. And lost my train of thought. Don't remember. Anyway, it's good to talk to you. Thank you for putting putting up with me and for listening. I and again, when it's not raining, maybe Saturday, come by, say hello, uh, check out the sale yarns. There's a lot of sale yarns out there. I need to sell some yarns so I can put some of this new stuff in and become more of a local farm supporter the way I'd like to be. Anyway, everyone, thank you very much, and I hope to talk to you next week. Bye.